When things like this happen, the best thing you can do for yourself is to be calm. Their kids are abroad with dual citizenship. They have access to world-class services. They are even loaded with our collective patrimony. But when there are political infightings, it is you that they would instigate to go and fight, to go and protest for them. There is never a time they would bring back their own biological children to come and protest. It's you. So what you're telling us is that you are the grass that is supposed to buy when two political elephants are fighting, right? You don't have a life that you cherish, right? The Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria has caused a lot of inconveniences for Nigerians across board. I am not sure in the entirety of my adult life that I have seen a situation where Nigerians will have to use Naira to buy the Naira to be able to go about their daily activities, and coupled with the fuel scarcity that is all over the country, and the Minister of Petroleum is not even addressing us. Wait though, he's the Minister of Petroleum. The last time there was a national policy to redesign the Naira was, I think, sometime in 2007 or 2008, and that was when these polymer notes were introduced. Yes, and I could remember, as far back as I could remember, as in we were using the polymer notes alongside the paper notes, and once the paper notes enters the bank, I'm not sure they came out again. That was how they were able to like phase it out. It wasn't something, I think there was a deadline set, but it wasn't something that was as close as what we have now. Now, in 2022, I think November 23rd, 2022, the CBN governor, he announced that he wanted to redesign the Naira notes, and the biggest reason that he gave for the redesign was to enable and fast track the cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And he also said he wanted to like stop these bandits from collecting ransom or whatever they said along that line. I think I'll put it on the screen so that we'll see the news headlines. And more so, he also said something about hoarding the old Naira notes. So these were his biggest reason for coming out on November 23rd and telling the world that he was going to redesign the Naira notes. In fact, they had started the redesigning before he came out, because I could remember he came to Aso Villa. He did not come. I don't work in Aso Villa. So he went to Aso Villa, they took pictures, and he showed the president sample of the new redesigned and recolored Naira notes. Beautiful policy.
President, there is a copy. 500 Naira. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
But what was wrong with this policy? It was the rush with which it was done. Like, how can you give a whole country 4 weeks to stop using old notes and switch over to the new notes? Even if it were possible to like stop it in that short time, what about those in the far rural areas? How are they to mop up all these notes? It was something that they were supposed to like sensitize the masses first before forcefully taking the notes away. But we did not see anything that showed compassion to the Nigerian populace. So why the protests? Now, the reasons the Central Bank Governor of Nigeria, the reasons he gave for wanting to redesigning and be recoloring the Naira notes was, one, to fast track the cashless policy. Then two, to stop hoarding of naira notes. We've seen pictures of naira notes stashed away in sockaway pits. We've seen them in bags. We've seen them brought away in some places. We've seen that the Ikoyi gates. That one was dollars, right? Okay, and naira alongside. So we've seen all those things. So Emefiele, the reason why Emefiele wanted to do this was to like let's bring out those notes so that money will circulate, whatever that means, and also to fast track the cashless policy, and also for criminal bandits not to have access to the new naira notes, so that whatever they have in the bushes would just like be useless. But it's so funny that I sometime last week I read that travelers along the along Borno Highway somewhere in Maiduguri, the bandits were stopping vehicles and dashing passengers 100,000 naira bundles. It was so funny. Good bandits. However, there are pertinent questions we should be asking ourselves at this point. Why did Emefiele wake up all of a sudden and decided to redesign or recolor the naira notes? So whose interest was that redesign policy? Who was fighting who? When it got to the December 31st deadline, why did he extend it to January 31st, then to February 10th? To whose interest? Don't tell me it is to Nigerians' interest. When the banks have realized that, okay, there will be a redesign of naira notes, and one of the biggest objective of this redesign was to enable cashless policy, why did they not upgrade their services? Because during this period when people were unable to access notes, you could see that I, for one, for a week I couldn't make transfers. I had to manage the little cash that was with me till everything became stable. So I'm still asking, why did they not upgrade their services? Who is fighting who? And why are bank managers, why are they hoarding the new naira notes that was given to their branches? Because Emefiele, according to what he said, it will be on the screen, he said that he gives branches 30 million naira daily from the CBN. They get 30 million naira daily from the CBN of the new naira notes. So as of now, it's almost like 400 billion of the new naira notes in circulation. So why were these bank managers hoarding it? In whose interests? By whose instructions? Why? I know my questions may sound very pedestrian. Yes, they don't start. They don't start to they talk. But if you remember, if you know, and if you realize that this is Nigeria and it's a place where anything goes, and anybody can use, any politician, let me not say anybody because we don't have the power, any politician can use anything to fight whoever they are fighting, and you will think that they are fighting you. No, we are just like, let me just say, collateral damage. We are not damaged like in the real sense, but we are just like people that are just watching, people that are bystanders, that should be actually watching them fight, not buying their fights. They know what they are doing with this new naira notes redesign. I may not know, but it is obvious from these questions that I've asked. If you look at what has happened this past days, you realize that there is somebody that is actually fighting somebody, and there is somebody that is trying to like sabotage whatever they are doing that will actually be in the interest of the masses. So because it does not benefit them directly. Because this redesign policy does not benefit them directly, that is why they are instigating you to stand up and protest. That is why they are creating artificial scarcity, so that you would want to, you are angry, you are hungry, you want to protest. It is not so, dear compatriots. Be calm. Be calm. Okay, during the COVID-19 era, if these people they love us so much during that lockdown, these politicians they knew where the food, they knew where the warehouses where those food were locked in. They knew. Why did they not ask you to protest? Why did they not give you? How many times have they led a protest against bandits? How many times have they asked you to rise up and protest against killings in Southern Kaduna, in Benue, in Enugu, in Imo? Our killings is still fresh in our memory. How many politicians stood up and said, okay, let us protest? Why are they facilitating artificial scarcity of the new Naira notes? Why are they sabotaging things? So why are they instigating you to go and protest? Anybody that is asking you to go and protest, tell them to bring their kids to come and lead the protest. If they pay you to go and protest, collect the money and go and use it to eat. Your life should be preserved. You're a great person. You should be preserved to become what God has destined you to be, not what a politician said you should go and do. I know a number of persons that have come out to say they regret ever participating in the Occupy Nigeria 2012 protest. Now, as at that 2012, me too, at a point I was like, okay, why did Jonathan want to increase this? He wanted to cause suffering, he wanted to do this, he wanted to do that. But in hindsight, what has happened? Well, in fact, some people are buying fuel for 500 naira. That is like 850% increase. Subsidy never come out though. 850% increase from what we were buying in 2012 before that Occupy Nigeria protest. So many persons did not understand that it was a political fight. Politicians were fighting themselves, because we saw politicians, they came out, they acted as if they love Nigerians. Why did Jonathan want to cause hardship of adding 20 naira on pump price, since Buhari increased pump price from 67 naira that you bought it in 2015 till now? How many protests have politicians led? Because it is to their interests. So why do you want to die in a political war? Why? Why? No, why? I really need to know why. That's why I'm asking calmly. Please, be calm. Be prayerful. Be on your guard. Manage what you have. And I assure you, by the grace of the Almighty, that normalcy will soon return to the polity when Obidati take over the mantles on May 29, 2023. But you know what we have to do? We have to come out massively to vote on the 25th of February 2023. We just hope that they don't postpone the elections with all these gimmicks that they are playing. We hope that it is not postponed. But even if it is postponed, we'll know that God's hand will still be in whatever will be. I can't wait to enter a new Nigeria where I'll realize that as a citizen I have rights. As a citizen, I should not be swayed by political fights, taking sides. The Naira crunch, whatever crunch that you're experiencing, the cash crunch that you're experiencing, it will soon be over. Normalcy will still return. You should know that these things, they are using it to fight themselves and to instigate you. Don't be a pawn in their war. Don't. Please. God bless you. God keep you. And we will enjoy a new Nigeria together.